Alright, just got this E350 in for some suspension repairs here. This left front is not sitting right. They had a little accident and pieced it back together, so it's in here to see what all else it's going to need. But just to do the basic inspection first and look over the rest of the car. I saw whenever I popped the hood, this has been replaced at some point. You can see it's clearly new and more clean than the rest of the engine bay. And there are little refrigerant stickers missing here. That's where the sticker's supposed to be, that shows like the refrigerant type and capacity and everything. Not super important, but it is missing. Speaking of not super important, the gas cap tether strap is broken as well. This is supposed to be connected to here to keep the gas cap from rolling away. Other than that, let's start in the engine bay and see if there's anything up here worth addressing, just anything the customer didn't know about yet. So let's see. Let's put this. A good bit of oil residue there. That's probably from someone probably missed the oil cap whenever they filled it up at some point. Oh, but it's equally as bad, if not worse, on this side here. You can see down there all that oil. Let me see if I can get a focus. Down here. It's refusing to focus on any of that, but hopefully you can see how much oil is coming out there. You might even be able to see it from the bottom depending on how much is dripping off. But anyways, that's these timing covers here. These front covers, where these little blue bolts hold together. This sealer right there, that sealer leaks. And there's also O-rings on these little circles, and those O-rings leak as well. It's a super common job. Like, they leak from the factory all the time. But the sealant pads you put on, or at least the sealant pads I put on, are much less likely to leak like that. But from the factory, it's almost guaranteed. So let's see, other than that, the drive belt looks good. That tensioner looks good. You can even see how much oil is down here on that radiator and the tip of the alternator there. How much just oil grime has leaked down onto that stuff. That's pretty good. Check the coolant level. It's good. I'll just pop off this ECU connector here to check for any oil inside that. It's also super common on these engines that there gets to be internal wiring leaks, and it'll leak oil through the wires, and it'll eventually make its way up into the ECU. This is the engine computer. Yeah, there's a good bit in there. You see how wet that is? That's engine oil. There. It's a common issue on higher mileage ones. You can see it pooling up there at the bottom. So there is oil making its way into the engine computer. And so that means this whole wiring harness is saturated with oil, the whole engine wiring harness. So it needs a new wiring harness. And the source of those are these guys. This is the camshaft position sensor. There's 4 of them because there's 4 camshafts. One there, and the other one is here. And they internally leak, and I don't really know how or how current flows through copper or whatever, but it flows through like the copper strands of the wire and eventually makes its way into everything. O2 sensors, the ECU, and starts messing with other components. So I'd probably get that looked at some point in the future if they plan on keeping this car. Let me cut this excess off here. There's a lot of this electrical tape that's coming off. There we go. Just not to have that get caught in the engine fan or something. It's a pretty good length of it. Okay, just looking down the side of the engine here. Don't really see anything. Yeah, that all looks good. The motor mounts, I felt the motor mounts in the car and they felt great. I'm sure they had them replaced at some point because they felt very smooth. don't see anything else from the top. Let's check it out underneath and see if there's anything under there. Yeah, this all looks good. All right, just gotta lift it up here. This puck is missing. There's usually a big rubber puck that goes right there. It acts as a jack point. So that's not important, but I don't know what all that's about. Maybe this wheel's been straightened in the past. Maybe if it was bent or something and some writing on it. Anyways, this was all-wheel drive. So it's got front axles. Those all look good. Just check over all these boots to make sure they're not torn. No grease leaking out. And there is not any. That all looks good. The brake life is good. That's very thick brake pads. On this side too, all these ball joints. And those brakes. Yeah, I'm glad to see these tires. At least the tread depth is matching. I saw this was hanging down pretty aggressively. I might just go ahead and cut that the rest of the way off because I'm sure that's scraping on the road. It doesn't really serve a purpose at this point anyways. Yeah, I'll probably take a razor to that. Check these bushings out here. It's got some decent tears in them. I don't know if I'd recommend that or not at this point. Let's see. Can you see these? Yeah, there's cracks in the bushing there. Usually these are gel filled, and usually whenever they're cracked down to the point where it's to the gel, you can see it leaking out. Like it's a pitch black type of fluid. I wouldn't say that's worth addressing yet, honestly. I mean, it's coming up, but wouldn't be needed at this point. All the front suspension looks fine. And the bushings on this control arm, about the same. Some tears starting to form in it. It's definitely showing age, but it's holding together. Oh, there's a pretty good leak. Oh, that's the front differential. That's a pretty hefty leak, actually. You can see the undershield's filled up and is leaking out here of this air vent. And even there, that's like oil residue. And that's the front differential. And that's where the oil is coming from. It's common on the E classes and C classes. And some of the newer AMGs. But you'll see that there's an O-ring that holds the pinion housing into the front differential, and that O-ring leaks. But to get it out, of course, you have to take the exhaust off and the front drive shaft out and everything like that to get the differential taken apart to get to that O-ring. But that is a lot of fluid leaking out, especially since the differential doesn't hold that much oil. It doesn't take a lot to leak out to be low and start to burn itself up. And usually here you can get a pretty good angle of the bottom of the engine and the back of the cylinder heads, which all look good. No coolant leaks up there anywhere. Sometimes you'll have like the heater valve leak on the back of the heads and stuff. I don't see anything. Yeah, that all looks fine. Oh, here's some oil that I bet is from those front covers. You see like the oil residue on the side of the engine block there, sort of behind the starter? The engine in these cars sort of sit angled, so the oil will drip down the back of the head, and a lot of times it'll drip onto the exhaust. So if you can ever smell burning oil, that's where it's coming from, because it's just dripping onto the catalytic converter here, or even up higher, sort of in the exhaust manifold section, and it'll be burning off. Okay, going back to the transmission here. You can see a little bit of oil residue on the seal, but this seal gets replaced every time you do a transmission service. This one here. So at the next transmission service, it will probably fix whatever that is. And the shifter bushing. That looks like it's starting to break apart. That little blue circle there, that's the shift rod that holds like the shifter in the car to the transmission. And that bushing does wear out a lot. Let me see if I can reach it. Oh, that feels firm. Yeah, that's still good. But they will crumble apart after time. So that one looks good, and the back one there also looks good. The back one's a lot larger, and it's black, not blue. But you can tell if there's any slop in the rod. Maybe it is starting to crack apart a bit there. Yeah. Yeah, you can see it starting to crumble apart there at the top. That'd probably be worth going ahead and replacing those bushings. If those go out, especially if both of them go out, there can be so much slop in this rod, you can't even get it into gear, and you'll think the transmission's out or something, but really it's just, this is the linkage rod that connects that shifter. Like, that connects your hand to the transmission. And then looking at the rear drive shaft, it looks good. No real leaks coming out of the transfer case. And yeah, like I said, I believe this tiny transmission leak is just that seal. The seal that gets replaced on the transmission services, so that'll be fixed on the next transmission service. Yeah, this transmission mount's been replaced before, which I assume was done with the motor mounts that are always supposed to be done in pairs, so I'm sure those have been replaced at some point in their life. Okay, look at this rear flex disc here, this rubber puck that holds the drive shaft onto the differential. It's got a pretty deep tear in it right there. You can see it cracking apart. I wouldn't replace that quite yet. All the other stress marks are very shallow. That one's pretty deep, and I don't see anything concerning on the front of this thing. Well, that one's pretty aggressive too, to be honest. Maybe I would. I'll price it out and let the customer decide. At least get a quote for it. These axles look good. The axle boots all look good. And the rear suspension bushings. Yeah, they look good. Don't see any of them tearing anywhere. The rear shock absorber, it's not leaking from anywhere. And then the rear brakes, let's see. That brake pad looks good. And the outer one looks good too. These rear tires are also very thick. So no tire issues. I assume this brake pad's also gonna be the same. Yeah, that looks good. You just look over these suspension bushings on the back here. Yep, shock absorber looks good, it's not leaking anything. Yeah, everything else looks pretty good. This is 120,000 miles, I believe. So it's definitely been kept up with. So I'm just gonna check the tire pressures and adjust them to make sure they're all even and reset the TPMS sensor back in the car. And then continue with diagnosing whatever's going on here. You can see the angle of that wheel maybe, as opposed to this wheel. I don't know if the camera's doing it justice or not, but it's definitely like caved in more this way. A lot of negative camber on it. So something in here is bent, but I'll figure that out obviously because that's the main reason it's in here. But as far as the additional stuff, it's this front differential leak, the tiny little missing sticker in the gas cap strap, and then the front timing cover leaks and the oil in the engine harness. What is that, 4? That's really 3 real things and then 2 tiny things. So I'll make quotes for that kind of stuff, or see if he is interested in having any of that addressed while it's in here, and then get the suspension figured out and get it sent off